that is Blabbing from Britain with myself and the Honourable Peter Stewart. Morning, Peter.
Hello, how are you doing? Just finishing off a bit of work here.
Yes, the sun's shining today, and apparently we're in for a heat wave this weekend. So,
very good.
He's looking good. I'll put my glasses back on, shall I? I took them off just to illustrate a point before we came live, and I forgot to put them back on. Now I can't see anything. This is Blabbing for Britain, episode 131, and for wherever in the world you are watching us today, welcome. If you're watching replay, it's going to be an interesting show. We've got lots of topics to talk about, and we hopefully will be joined by Stephen Silk during the course of the next hour or so as we work our way through. So we say hello to Ontario in Canada, to San Diego, and to New York, and to Cambridge in the UK, as we are broadcasting on 8 different pages today, and 9 including my own, I suppose. You a bit close to the camera there, Peter.
Yeah, just it's what we were speaking about. Right, okay.
All good. Yeah. Right. Okay. Now, one or two topics to talk about. Right. Now, I don't know what your thoughts are about this. In the UK, we have Ofsted, which looks after our schools and makes recommendations as to what should happen in schools and inspects schools. And they have just suggested that there should be a ban on phones in schools.
Sorry, I got waylaid. There should be a ban on what, sorry?
A ban on using mobile phones in school.
I totally agree. They should walk in and they should put them into a bin, right?
Yep.
And my mum needs to get in touch with me. My mum needed to get in touch with me. She phoned the school at the secretary's number. And that way they knew what was wrong.
That's the way it used to be, isn't it? Before mobile phones, your parents would ring the school and say, I need to speak to my son, daughter, because we've got a problem and they need to know about it now.
Yeah.
And
well, if there's any kiddie winks listening in, right, you nice little kiddie winkles, when you go into the real world, right, of adulthood and you're working, some have got a policy of no mobile phones, and if you still try and sneak it on, they'll bring you in and say it's distracting your work, which may lead you to lose your job. So start getting used to winkles and then moving into adulthood.
Yeah. So you think this will go ahead?
I hope so.
Yeah, I agree with you, because having phones in schools is a total distraction from what you're supposed to be there for. You're supposed to be there to learn.
Yes.
And having a mobile phone, even not using it during lesson, the temptation must be there to use it during lessons.
What the kids also do is they antagonize a teacher to get them to lose their rag, and they film it.
Oh yeah.
They do that too. And I just think it should be totally banned from schools, and it's not there for to be used at schools.
Right.
Now, in my business, we use mobile phones all the time to intercommunicate and things like that. But in school, no. Put them in a bin, sign them in, and sign them out.
Totally agree. So we're in agreement on that. In actual fact,
and just give me 1 second while I make a text.
Well, along with this, going one step further than that, but related to that, Algeria, it's the school exams time, and they're turning off the internet. So even if you've got your phone in Algeria, if you're a student, you won't be able to use the internet. Now, the reason behind this is different, not necessarily distraction, in that pupils are actually using the internet during exams to ask Google and Siri and Alexa the answer to the question. And so they're actually not banning phones, they're switching the internet off. Now, I don't know from a practical point of view how they can do that, but again, we're coming back to the way it used to be in exams. Well, when the news broke that you can actually use a calculator in exams, that was the end of the world, wasn't it? Because mental arithmetic went out the window with that. Yeah.
But with a calculator, they've got to. My cousin's a maths teacher, and with a calculator, they've got to go through the whole process with a calculator. If you're using a calculator, you've got to use it the whole way through, and you've got to show every equation. I do believe. Yeah. And look, we've moved on. I use a calculator. I wasn't great at arithmetic. If you was to ask most people on the street now and say, what's 9 times 9? What is it, Stephen?
It's 81, Peter.
I thought you might know that, but most people wouldn't know that, you know?
That's true. It's a sad fact that skills that we used to have in both, well, it used to be reading, writing, arithmetic, didn't it? Arithmetic skills have shrunk. You know, unless you're going in for a job which needs mathematics, like engineering, something like that, or CAD, or then you don't need to know your numbers. And even if you do know your numbers, you can use a calculator or a computer.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we use things for modern times. That's what we do. But I mean, a lot of people wouldn't be able to do long division now, and you just adapt to modern technology. But it's good to. I remember I've got a blockage with mental arithmetic. Now I went and done a fire alarm salesman's course and also a fire designer's course, and the tutor was absolutely astonished at me that I couldn't do mental arithmetic in my head. I says, I'm sorry, it's the way I am. I'll use a calculator. And that was it. But he was just astonished. And I spoke to him later. I says, I would rather you not embarrass me in front of everybody because I find it difficult with figures, but I can do it with a calculator. And so I was telling him as well, people do it in different ways, you know. So horses, you got to remember, there's a lot of people their brains can't adjust to mental arithmetic. So dyslexic people and all that sort of people have got to find other ways around it. And I'm one of them, so I can understand how they feel, you know.
Right. So we've covered the fact that phones may be banned from UK schools, and that Algeria is switching off the internet to prevent pupils from cheating during exams.
Well, that's a good idea. And how they can do that, they can switch off they can put them into a room that has got the Wi-Fi turned off.
Yep.
Turn the Wi-Fi off, and that would be how you do it. And the rest of the school wouldn't suffer because they would still have their intranet or whatever. But close off the room with cutting off the Wi-Fi and confiscating their phones when they go in. Strip search them.
Right. Okay. Now the next one. If I'd written the notes for the show on Tuesday, it would have been totally different.
Right.
In this particular case, that's the wrong one. Just a minute. That's what I want is this one.
Did I see Donald Trump there for a minute?
It's back now. On Tuesday. Well, I read out the headline: Trump backs down on migrant family separations policy. Now, the more you hear about this, the more weird, for want of a better word, that it gets, and unfortunate and sad. The idea is for 5 weeks, 2,300 children were moved away from their parents who had crossed the border illegally. Now, there's no question that the parents shouldn't have been there because they tried to get into the US legally. But the children had done nothing. I mean, children as young as 9 months had done nothing, and they're being taken away from their parents at the border. Your thoughts, Peter, before I go on?
Well, it's been interesting. I've been listening to this. Did you know that each administration was doing this before? Obama tried to stop this, and it went to a local court, and they appealed against Obama, right? Yep. Now, Clinton brought this in. Did you know Clinton brought this in? And The man, because he's there at the time, is getting all the flack for it. Go and look at what happened in the past, folks. Now, somebody said in Britain, if my parents had been arrested, if they cuffed them and took them away to jail, did they take the kids with them? No, they went to social services. And that's what they do today. They wouldn't leave kids lying in a house arresting their parents. Do you really want kids going into a real jail with their parents?
No. I mean,
exactly. Social services take them, and that's their way. Now, it's on a border. It's a big border. And they've had to build something quickly so they can look after them. I don't think they abused the kids when they got in, did they?
No. Well, it depends on your term abuse. Basically, of the 2,300, 239 of them got on the bus, travelled 2,000 miles, and are now in New York. Well, they didn't get on the bus, they were put on the bus. So the children have been dispersed throughout the US, and there is no registration of those children. Mm-hmm. Nobody knows who they are. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I've got a quick answer for it. Why don't they get a DNA test on the spot?
Well, they never planned. They never planned to reunite the children. There's no system for doing it. Yeah.
Well, right. Okay. What is the liberal answer to it?
The liberal answer is that people should not try to get into the US illegally.
That's why he's written a wall, a good wall,
which the Mexicans will pay for. I don't know. This whole episode, if it wasn't, it's affecting children, so it shouldn't be taking place. Simple as.
It's got to be stemmed. Here's the thing: what are the Mexicans doing? What are the Mexicans doing to stop people crossing the border? Because I'll tell you what they do: they imprison them south of the border, in their own border. Go and look up what they do to people coming through. So what are they doing to stop it? Mexico's got to play its part too. Well, instead of blaming everybody.
Yeah, I don't think it's exasperating, Peter. That's what it is. That things are being done in a rush without being fully thought out and fully planned. And when they do go ahead, of course, the shit hits the fan, as we'd say in the UK. Mm-hmm. And I mean, there's worldwide condemnation of this policy. And
I didn't hear them before because it's been going on before.
Just a minute. The condemnation is also coming from the Republican Party, mm-hmm. Who have elections in October, and they could see that they would not get back in if this hot potato was still around at that time. So they had to nip it in the bud.
So Trump stopped it. He stopped it now. Executive order.
Yeah, no, that's another point. On Tuesday, Trump and his team said the Democrats have got to stop this. The Democrats have got to pass a law which allows me to do A, B, and C. Yeah. The Democrats said, no, you created this, you stop it, which is why he had to do the executive order. Because
that's the way to do it. And then you can say, look, how's your Democrats? Look at them. They just wanted to play party politics with the kids. They could have passed that. I had to make an executive order. Look at them. Pick them up one at a time.
Peter, you made an executive order to create the situation. So an executive order to cancel it sounds...
Did he make the executive... Did he make the executive order to split the families up?
Oh, yeah.
Executive, he didn't go to the Democrats and the Senate to get that.
5 weeks ago, he did the executive order that started all this.
Right.
Or probably and then needs to want to reverse it.
So what was happening before? Let's move back in time when Clinton and Obama were there. What were they doing about this situation regarding the kids? Do you know?
I need to do the same research as you, Peter.
If somebody's in America, let me know what they were doing, please. I don't want to know what they were doing at the time. Why didn't they stop this long ago? That's what I want to know. Anyway, yeah.
Right, okay, this is Blabbing from Britain, episode 131, myself and Peter Stewart, and giving our views on what's happening around the world. And as you can see, we're inclusive. We talk about anywhere in the world. We're not just talking about our own country, but we do have to occasionally. So we're going to come back to now. I'm trying to find the right headline, Peter. Bear with me a moment. Right, okay, now, a story we didn't want to hear this week is about Gosport Hospital. Now, to give everybody the background to this, that used to be that one person within the hospital administration would be responsible for the drugs policy for the hospital. And it would appear in the 90s and the 2000s, the lady in charge of that policy had a situation where she was prescribing heroin and other pain-killing drugs in excess. And that's the findings of the report which came out yesterday. And they've worded this very carefully. They have said that 640 people died prematurely. And there are cases of basically people who were well going into hospital to give their partners some respite. Yeah. So they were using the hospital for respite care because that's one of the ways that people can be helped. And he was well when he went in, but he too was prescribed effectively an overdose of drugs, and he died. The end result is that 640 people who could still be with us were taken early. And there is one lady who was looking after this. She retired in 2010, and she's now 70. What are your thoughts, Peter?
Well, my thoughts is my partner works with the elderly in hospital from time to time. She's actually kind of retired now. And she tells me about the people that plead with them to help them die. They've past their age, they're in pain, and they actually plead for them to help them die. And it would be illegal to do so. So it's a tough call. And that's why, I don't know if our American friends or anyone else listening in, that people are leaving the UK to go to, I think it's Switzerland, to end their life with dignity because they can't take the pain anymore. And so that's one of the problems that we have. It is illegal in this country for a doctor to be seen to help people on their way. I believe that the lady doctor is probably a compassionate person and in her mind and saying, maybe I'm letting this people go, but I don't know about that. It's a tough one.
No. The finding is that people who were well, fit, wanted to leg it out of hospital, will be being given drugs, overdose of drugs, which killed them.
Right. So that means the doctor is, I don't know if we would call it homicide or even murder, but then they're responsible. If they made the decision to do that, they're responsible for that. However, some of the nurses, I believe, knew what they were doing too, and I think they did report it, didn't they?
It was reported. It started reporting it. It started in the 90s,
and nothing was done.
And there were 3 investigations into it, and nothing was done. And now we come to the stage where there's been a brand new investigation, and they have apportioned the blame onto the system and onto one person.
Who was at the top of the Gosport hospitals? Who's the top member? Live by the sword, die by the sword. They were responsible, and it was their place. And like everybody asks the Prime Minister to resign when something goes wrong, the top person at the time should be held accountable.
Yeah.
But hey, they'll probably retire with a massive pension and say it was nothing to do with me.
It's a sad situation, and fortunately it's a rarity, although someone this morning did say it's possible it's happened elsewhere as well. So these are there are people who monitor death threats in hospitals, and if they see an anomaly, they will go and find out why.
Do you know who found out about Dr. Shipman? Do you know who it was? Remember Dr. Shipman?
I know who Dr. Yeah.
It was the local undertaker that.
Right.
It was a young, it was a lady undertaker, and she kept getting these bodies coming in. She says, they're all dying of the same thing. And it was the local undertaker that started the investigation.
And well, yeah. These cases are rare, but we live in a society where you can't stop everything. Right. Okay. Your favourite subject, Peter. This is the Stephen and Peter show on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. Thank you for joining us. If you want to comment, then please do. If you want to come on camera, we've got a spare seat today.
Yeah.
If you want to join us on camera, I'm just going to copy the link and put it in. And
we won't bite you. Well, Stephen won't. I will. If you're a lefty, I'll bite you.
Yeah, you have to state your political affiliation before you actually join us on the screen.
I'm a nice person, really.
Indeed, I know. All right, okay. Now this has been going well. It's only 9 months before we actually leave. In quotes.
But I knew she would pull a trump card, to pardon the pun.
No, you're quite welcome to do that. She's navigated choppy waters, hasn't she, Peter, for the last 8 days, and managed to get through with the final thing that did this, and I from purely from a country point of view, is that the rebels in the Conservative Party decided that if Mrs. May is going to actually do a deal in Europe, she needs the backing of Parliament, and therefore it was in the country's best interest that they actually vote for her. And I've got to agree with that, because if we'd gone in and Mrs. May had no authority whatsoever from Parliament, then we'd have been stuffed royally. At least now she does have the backing of Parliament. She can go and negotiate in true faith, and we'll see what happens. So, but in this instance, I mean, the crazy thing here is that the MP who proposed the bill, Conservative MP, proposed an amendment that Parliament would have the final say. A chap called Mr. Green. He got up in Parliament to propose this bill yesterday, and he said, "This is my amendment. This is what it's about. This is why I want it. Oh, and by the way, I'll be voting with the government." Which, you couldn't write this. I mean, we did have Yes Minister many years ago, and it's still true today. You couldn't make this stuff up.
The party whip should get them in, sit them down, and say, you've got to vote with the government, because otherwise you may get Mr. Corbyn, and he'll have you all riding bikes.
Now
never mind gas tax. You'll be on bicycles whether you like it or not. And that's what I would say to them. If you don't see it as united, you'll get Corbyn in, and you'll be to blame for that.
Right, and we say hello to Kelly in Ontario. Welcome, Kelly.
Hello.
Thanks for joining us. I know it's early in the morning for Kelly. It's only 5:25.
Okay, and that's Kelly. It's a man, isn't it?
It is. Yes.
Sorry, I don't know that.
Well, I do. I know he's a man.
I do as well. I don't know what triggered Alexa then.
Going on about Theresa May, what did I tell you a while back? Everybody wants Burger King politics. And what I mean by Burger King politics is they want it now. They want your comment now. We want to know what you're doing now. We demand to know. All the papers, we demand to know. Now. So up there, Theresa May had a card. And she waited and she waited, and they're going, what about his 350 million quid a week? What about it? And she just took out the card. And for those people in the world that don't know, she trumped the 350 million quid a week, and all the lefties and whatever, they were withering away. They were wobbling, because she says, I'm going to give more than that. And they done everything. How are you going to do it? How are you going to? And she's trumped them. What do you think?
I think that the day after, her chancellor came out and said, yes, we can. Of course we can. But we'll have to raise taxes.
Yeah. Now, here's the other thing. The only time they can complain about it is when the date they said it would do it, it doesn't happen, or it does happen. That's the only time they can say it. They can't complain. You have to wait until it happens or doesn't happen. That's the truth of it now.
And for those interested, the date in question is March 19th, 2019, which is just short of 9 months away.
Wow.
And that's when we're out. All right, okay, now I'm going to bring on your favourite topic now, Peter.
All right.
And that is, I don't even have a card for it. Yes, I do. Have you seen any of the World Cup?
Not one bit, because I'm out cycling. That's the World Cup used to interest me as a kid. I remember all the Pelés and everything. Yeah. But it doesn't mean anything to me now. You know, sorry.
I remember being on holiday with my parents in Llandudno, and we got a Charabang coach to Llandudno, and on the coach I can remember having my book of football stickers for the World Cup 1966, and I can remember watching the World Cup final live. So that's an excellent memory of football. But the World Cup, Peter, just to bring you up to date then, we were at, we spent the weekend in Wageningen on the twinning weekend. Mm-hmm. And as you know, our town of advisors is twinned with Wageningen in Germany and Maine in France. And we visit each other's countries every 3 years, and we stay in the homes of the residents of the city. So we went to Wageningen from Heathrow to Stuttgart, and then went and stayed with our hosts for 4 days. Mm-hmm. And our host, Silke, is a counsellor in Wageningen, and her husband, Klaus, and 2 sons. Now, 2 sons vacated the second floor of the house so that Angelica and I and Isabel from France could actually stay there. Mm-hmm. And we had a fantastic weekend. And you've got 3 languages going on. You've got German, French, and English. But guess which language everybody spoke in at the breakfast table? We all spoke English at the breakfast table.
International language, you see.
The best way to do it. But on Saturday night, back to the World Cup thing, Saturday night was a barbecue. Sorry, Sunday night was a barbecue. It was also the day of the Germany-Mexico match. And they'd arranged it so the barbecue's outside, and they'd reserved the television lounge for the men. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So all the men went up to the television lounge, and I mean, it was Sunday, so I just stayed outside. I mean, it's Germany playing, not England. And they were watching the match. And about 40 minutes in, you heard this great moan, and you knew that Mexico had scored. Yeah.
Right.
And then Germany went on to lose the match 1-0. And you'd think that everybody would be totally hacked off, but they all came down and enjoyed the barbecue. But it was sort of a surreal moment when you're actually in the country that's you know, lost, and they're taking it like we would, taking it on the chin. Yeah. But this World Cup is fascinating because already qualified, Russia and Uruguay are already through to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
And England, when we play in any championship, be it European or world, we always draw the first match. We won the first match. We won the first match 2-1. And so therefore we are in with a chance of actually going through to the next round. So come on, England.
There'll be a lot of Scotsmen rooting for you, I'm sure.
I know there will. A lot of football. No, I know you said that tongue in cheek, but it's true. Football fans, Peter, have allegiance to a team. Okay, so I support Burnley, 7th in the Premiership, playing in Europe next year, right?
Yeah.
But if your team doesn't make it, then as a football fan, you want to support the next best team. Yeah.
Yeah.
So if with Man United, Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea all in Europe, when the European matches come on television, it's a natural thing to barrack for the English team.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you, in Scotland, a lot of people want England to do well.
Yeah.
They don't want them to win because they keep throwing 1966 in their faces. Yeah. And it gets to them. The Scots would never want to see the English win the World Cup again and rub it in their face, you know. And I'm afraid that's the way it is up here, you know. But I'll tell you I'll tell you a World Cup story, though.
You go.
I was listening to the radio this morning, and did you know there's been the first ever woman commentator at the World Cup for Britain? Yeah? Carry
on.
And do you know what one English footballer, I can't remember his name now, was it somebody Terry or something like that? He says, this is awful. He actually turned the sound down to watch it. And there was a lot of complaints about her, seemingly. And it was men, and the guy actually turned the sound down. What do you think of that, no?
I think that's ridiculous. The BBC Radio 5 Live, favourite station of choice, basically they broadcast all the Premiership matches every football Saturday. And they also broadcast the Championship matches and the lower leagues as well. And increasingly over the years, the number of female commentators has just risen dramatically.
Yeah.
And these are ladies who were reporters first, have a love of football, and know the game. And when they comment on the game, they're not quite up to Motson level, but they are pretty darn good. And I think that, as in all jobs, Peter, that it should be on merit.
No, I totally agree. Going back to Sky, now the two, I think it was Andy Gray and I've forgotten his name now. They went over. They got kicked off of Sky because their male chauvinism or whatever. And there's a Sky presenter now, and a lady, and she took over from Eamon Holmes, I think. But she used to be a sports type reporter, and they give her such a hard time. And I actually think that's terrible, you know, because some of these people go in and look at their sports and to give her a hard time because she's a woman doing the same job as her. Now, listen, I've had lady pest controllers, would you believe, you know? And believe it or not, I got stick for it one day. People commented, a lady pest controller. And this was in a job centre type place. And I says, you should never have mentioned the fact that she's a woman doing this job. And it works sometimes for some and not for others. And some people can't understand a woman being in a profession, like a bricklayer or something like that, and they make a comment. They shouldn't make any comment whatsoever. So good for them. But what I don't like, when it's tokenism, and they're putting that job for tokenism, race, colour, religion, or whatever. Now, we've even got to the stage where the BBC said, don't quote me, but I think it was the BBC said, only blacks can apply for this job, sort of thing.
I thought that was illegal.
You go and look it up.
I'm not doubting your word, Peter.
Yeah, they said this is for whatever it was only. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
in jobs, you can't discriminate on gender, race, religion. There are a whole range of things or age now. A whole range of
Well,
things you can't discriminate.
I won't say anything else, but we'll look it up to see if
Yeah.
it's true. Yeah.
Okay.
And I had a friend of mine. There's a woman in business group here in Aberdeen. Yeah. And I had a friend of mine who's a photographer. He went along to it, and he's a man. I says, "What did they say to you?" He says, "They didn't say anything actually." It was quite interesting. And going back to that, in London, there's swimming pool. Outdoor swimming pool for men and one for women, and then the women turned up at it, but they didn't like it when the men turned up at theirs. It's a catch-22. It's they've came to ours, so we're coming to yours, and so just let's be sensible about it.
And don't get us talking about men's clubs or golf clubs. We won't go that subject today. No. We might reserve it for a future.
Have you got any reactions? What's people saying about me?
Nothing at the moment. We're having a gentle chat, you and I.
Where's Billy Blabbing when you need him?
Indeed. Right, okay. Now, today is the longest day of the year.
Remember that? The longest day of the film.
You know how I can tell the days are getting longer? And this is apocryphal. It's the chickens. Yeah?
Okay.
The chickens normally go in winter. They're away by 6 o'clock, but now they stay up. They stay up late, and they're out and about at 9:30.
Wow!
Because they can still see what they're doing. But it's a summer solstice today, and thousands gathered at Stonehenge, which is a tradition by a Druid tradition, but other people join in too. And is we're celebrating the solstice because, as we all know, Stonehenge is aligned that when the sun rises, it goes through the arches of the of Stonehenge itself, and is one of the points to be on the longest day of the year, which this is. But pertinent not just for Stonehenge. Police said that there were 9,500 people there today.
Right, okay.
Last year, there were 19,000.
So why is it down to 9?
I've got to say it's because of English heritage.
And?
Parking charges.
All right.
Yeah. English heritage have said normally what happens on the longest day of the year, because it is a festival, is that English heritage forego parking charges.
Right.
Yeah. And everybody can park for free because it is a celebration of summer. But this year they decided that they would charge for car parking, and the effect it's had is it's halved the audience. Yeah.
And
I mean, when Angelica went with her friend a few years back, and there were tens of thousands of people there. Yeah. Anyway, just just a point. I don't know whether English heritage will reverse for 2019, but we'll see. We'll see.
I'm just going to forward this. Well, you think the next subject or something like that.
You want to take a break?
No, it's just a quick call.
Okay, fine. So, Dave, this is the longest day wherever you are in the world. Summer has arrived at long last, and enjoy this week. We're looking forward to a heat wave, though that's a heat wave by our standards in the UK, not a heat wave by the standards of Australia or parts of America.
Yeah. No, going back to the parking charges. Now, was there other people involved that could have made money from that 10,000 people that aren't there now? What other people sell things there?
And it is. First of all, it is a ceremonial event. So its primary reason for being there is to actually celebrate the summer solstice. I've no doubt that there will be people there selling, but not within, not around Stonehenge itself. In other words, you can't set an ice cream cart or a hot dog cart next to the henge. So it's not a commercial venture.
But would have people have travelled from out with your area to come to Norma? Do you think it's the actual charge? How much is the charge?
I don't know, Peter. I'll have to do some research, but I know. All I know is numbers are virtually halved.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to find out the reason why. That is amazing. So that makes the point. What if parking was free in a city at the weekends? What would that do for the economy?
I don't know. What would it do for the pollution? It's a balance, isn't it? Yeah.
What if parking was free and they took them in buses?
Yeah, we've got a situation in Devizes that parking is decidedly not free, and Wiltshire Council have decided, who decide what the parking charges are, they've decided that ourselves and another town they're increasing prices, so they're driving people out of the town centre. Yeah.
Well, I'm lucky. I'm lucky. I've got a city centre free parking spot.
Right. We've just been. Kelly's just told us that it's also important today because today is National Selfie Day.
Is it? All right. Okay.
And we're joined by John. So hello to John. It's National Selfie Day. I didn't know that. I don't think. Morning, John.
Good morning.
It's John.
Yeah, back from the vets.
Oh dear.
No, progress. It's looking a lot healthier now.
That's good. That's good.
Good to hear. Right, it is National Selfie Day, according to Kelly in Sarnia, Ontario. So, should we all be taking selfies? I ask myself. I don't know.
It's not a thing I do a lot of. I hardly do selfies.
Yeah. Anyway, just some tech news. Instagram, which you all know about, are releasing IGTV. Okay? New app on your phone, and we know that Instagram has limited videos or the length of videos. They're now saying that you can have a 60-minute video on Instagram. So we could take this whole episode of Blabbing for Britain and put it on Instagram to reach a whole new audience. And I am sorely tempted to do that. Thoughts?
You'd have to edit all the rubbish out, though, or you'd put everybody off.
Yeah, you'd have to take all my politics out of it. Or I'll
there wouldn't be anything left.
Worldwide.
If we took all the banter out, there'd be nothing left. We'd have the show at the beginning and your goodbye at the end bit, John, and that'd be it.
Yeah.
I would get stalked by Antifa.
Dear. Right, John, just a quick cook's tour then. If you want to say anything about any of these, then please do. Ofsted are suggesting banning phones in schools.
I thought that was common sense myself, and I thought schools did it anyway.
Okay. Next topic was Theresa May. Very smooth and orderly EU exit.
Well, a load of rubbish. Yeah.
These lefties, Peter, these lefties, I don't know what we're going to do with them. Sorry, John. Right, next topic, Algeria goes one better and turns off the internet so that students cannot cheat during exams.
Sounds like a damn good idea, but what are the rest of us going to do during all those exams?
I tell you what, though, I mean, I just had the weekend away, as you've already know, and I didn't have the internet up for 4 days. Not like I normally do.
Was you shaking?
Withdrawal symptoms. No, I thoroughly enjoyed the weekend. John, the World Cup.
Next.
I'm glad about
I'm very pleased with some of the upsets.
Yeah, and me too. It's the underdog winning. It's the Englishman's. We always want the underdog to win, don't we? We always cheer.
I gather Southgate's injured himself.
Well, yeah. Yeah, he was on a
Indicated his
10K.
shoulder.
Yeah.
So he's been told no exciting goal celebrations.
Right.
And I
next
said,
topic.
what goal celebrations? Next topic.
Harry Kane is a star.
Next topic. Yeah, Harry Kane,
Gosport.
not a star, he's just a footballer.
Gosport.
This is rather difficult because you can't be prosecuted twice, can you, in this country? And she's already been found guilty.
She hasn't been prosecuted.
Oh, right. Is it our own organisation?
No, she was suspended, but not taken off the doctor's register.
Yeah, didn't she quit though as a result?
She quit in 2010.
The thing is, none of us really know whether she was being cruel or kind, do we? So, next topic.
Right. They're varying true stories, which, well, it's complicated, as they say.
Yeah.
Your next topic, which is one we haven't spoken about so far, is Donald Trump lacks character to get a liquor license for his hotel. Now, this is a new hotel, and it asked for a liquor license, and the granting of a liquor license has been opposed by all the local religious groups, saying he is not a fit person to hold a liquor license.
Yeah, but it won't be him anyway, will it? It'll be the manager or the president of that hotel that gets the liquor license, not him.
We're going to label that one fake news then, which is why I didn't show it on screen earlier. Next one.
Have you covered the topic that affects both of you?
Well, tell us what it is.
Oh, come on. I know you're not much of a football fan, Peter, but Aberdeen and Burnley drew each other in the first round of the Europa League.
All right, okay.
So they did, Peter.
Okay. It must have passed me by. Next.
So Burnley will be making a trip up to Aberdeen, and Aberdeen will be making a trip to Burnley.
All right, okay.
May the best team win, Peter. May the best team win.
Yeah. But
will it be an A or a B team? Oh, no, that was supposed to be fun.
I don't know.
An A or a B team, an Aberdeen or a okay. Next topic.
Trump backs down on immigrant family separation.
I'm surprised he was getting murdered. I mean, that they hounded that woman out the Mexican restaurant, didn't they?
Yeah, which is a bloody disgrace, actually. So does that mean anybody that makes something in life now, they have to be hounded out in their private life? Because the lefties wouldn't like it, and nobody would like it done to them. So, come on, shout them down. That's all. I would have got them arrested for breach of the peace. Or I said, just go and get the cops and put them in cuffs. Where are you going?
The cops attended. If you see the photos, the cops did attend.
All right. Well, I hope they arrested the loudmouth that was there. Wonder if she was legal.
As in?
It was a joke.
Oh, right, okay. I think she was legal because she's the secretary for the Homeland Security. So she's probably...
No, not her. The other woman who was giving her a hard time. Yeah.
Right. I told one of my stories from the training weekend, which isn't a topic for discussion, really, because it's just an event.
I saw the photographs. I watched the other...
Did you watch the video?
No.
Angelica was taking photographs throughout the whole weekend and then put them into albums. And I took one of the albums on the show on Tuesday, and for the first 15 minutes gave people an overview of what happens on a training weekend. And
if you remember, I joined your show about halfway through. So I saw the repeat bits, not the full Monty.
Oh, right, okay. Yep, so you did. Right, and we talked about March 19th, 2019.
Does this date have any real significance?
Yep.
It's the date everybody will say, Oh, was that it?
It's a bit like Y2K, isn't it? You know,
Yeah.
1st of January 2000. It came and it went. Yeah.
Okay. And finally, the summer solstice at Stonehenge, which I think is where you came in, or around about where you came in. And
I saw the pictures of thousands of people there.
9,500 people there, but way down on any previous year's figures, because the English Heritage introduced parking charges, and the Druids said, not doing that. Or some of the lesser committed Druids said, we're not going. Okay, that probably gets taken off the air at some point.
Right.
Right. Which book are you reading at the moment?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I actually bought a new one last night because I'd finished the one I was reading yesterday. So I have bought John Grisham's The Rooster Bar. Haven't I? Why did I buy it?
I don't know. Go.
Do you want to know why I bought it? Okay. Tesco's has made a commitment that they will sell one book every 2 weeks for £3.
Oh, wow.
This was this fortnight's £3 book.
Bargain. Peter?
I don't have the concentration levels at the moment to read books. It's interesting that it's really got to catch my imagination, and I've really got to, it's got to be a page turner for me, and I just haven't been. I'll tell you what I do instead of reading books. I watch YouTube.
Yeah.
And I watch clips that go on for about 5 minutes. If they get too long, even then I say, right, I've had enough of that. Get to the point. At the moment, I lack concentration. I just want people to get to the point. Okay? So that's what I do.
And
instead of
your
reading
book,
books.
Stephen?
Thank you for asking, John. Because I'm going to shock you with this one. I'm actually reading the Da Vinci Code by a chap called Dan Brown. Is it any good? Is it any good?
It's all right. It wasn't as good as the hype.
The film was good. I liked the film.
I didn't watch the film. I bought some subsequent Dan Brown books. They were not as good as the Da Vinci Code one.
The Digital Fortress was.
Did you buy it in a reduced pile then in the book?
No, I actually am reading it for the second time.
Right.
You know, when you watch it, you watch a film for the second time, and you know what's going to happen, but you still enjoy it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you can do that I can do that with books. I've got to put our hands up here. The best book I've read this year was written in the 1800s by a chap called Victor Hugo, and I've read all 1,400 pages of Les Miserables. Whilst remembering Liam Neeson in the film that was made of it, so you've got the characters, you can actually put them into the story. But the craft of writing, I mean, I know I'm following millions of people in saying this, but the book is so well crafted that he would be a hit today if he were still writing. I'm going to say that.
I fell out with one of my favourite authors. For years I've liked Lee Child, who does the Reacher series.
Yeah.
But he sold out to Hollywood, didn't he? Because in the books, Reacher is £250, 6'5", and built like the proverbial brick shit house, for want of a better expression.
Yeah.
And then they cast the midget in it when they went to Hollywood, and Tom Cruise became him. And
if you was to ask me, if you were to ask me the best book I've ever written, and it was a page turner for me, it was a book called The Fatherland. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, I've got a copy on the shelf.
Harris.
Mr. Harris. Yeah.
Great writer. I couldn't. I bought the Roman one, then put it down. I just couldn't get it. But The Fatherland, I really enjoyed that one, and it was a page turner. And seeing how people within a system turning the system, absolutely brilliant. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Well written.
And have you got a worst book you've bought this year, Stephen?
No. What's the worst book you bought this year, John?
I clearly bought it by the inch. Yeah. I mean, there's the John Grisham next to it to give you an idea.
Yeah.
It's called A Clash of Kings.
Oh, you've gone over to the dark side.
It's crap.
Now, you're talking about...
It's even worse. The print is so tiny, it makes your eyes tired.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, you're talking about Game of Thrones, John.
It's just...
The author of Game of Thrones. Right, okay. You're obviously not going to use revered tones for that. So, okay, fair enough. Right. Are you looking forward to the heat wave, John?
Well, I didn't think the weather's been too bad lately anyway. So it's beautiful out now here anyway.
Good.
Yeah, heat wave. It can be too hot though, can't it? And then you can't get your digging and stuff done. So we'll wait and see.
Okay. Do you know what? I've never really looked at the weather. I just wake up and say, "Oh, what's a good day?" But now I'm cycling. It's very important.
Yeah.
You look at it and you say, right, what time is it? 10 o'clock, and you go 11. All right, by the time I go out, it's raining, but then it's going to be really hot. And then that tells you what type of clothes to take with you and emergency stuff to take with you, the water and everything that you take with you. So weather now is important to me.
But
so I'm looking forward to it.
Where you are, it's usually different to where we are, isn't it?
Oh, it can be different, but Aberdeen can be the hottest place in the UK and it can be the coldest. But I'll tell you a place to look up. It's called Aboyne, Aboyne. That is a heat trap, and that is in the way out to Ballater, Braemar, where the Queen goes along the Royal Dee side. And where we do a lot of cycling to start off is we actually go along the old Victoria train line that takes you up to, I'll maybe film it for you one day. Would take you right up to Ballater eventually, where Queen Victoria went. And there's still some of the old stations, people have got them as houses and that. So it's quite a nice run, actually. It's a shame that they got rid of it because it would have been a great commuter run, a little train or something. But now it's full of bicycles and dog walkers and joggers. But it's fantastic. Yeah. Very good.
Excellent. Okay. And we say hello to Claire. Let's all wave to Claire, who's been watching since the beginning of the show, although due to my showing this out on 8 different pages, not necessarily on this page. And Claire has just commented in a message that we can't see her comments, obviously. And it's not probably on the 59th minute of the show. A good time to tell you that if you want to comment live, the link is at the top of the post, wherever you are. Next week, I will say that right at the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. So sorry, Claire.
Is Claire still planning holidays then?
Sorry?
Oh, you know Claire's queen of time management. Her latest thing she's been posting about is holiday planning.
Right. Okay.
Just wanted to prove that I do see what Claire does.
Yes. In your timeline.
Well,
Facebook timelines is a whole other story.
Have you seen the latest thing that's been thrown at us all?
Rights
management.
What is that?
Rights management.
Indeed. And this is a good one, isn't it?
If you've got rights to manage, it's a good one, yeah.
No, it's all about copyright. If you put up a video on Facebook from now on, they've got the technology. If somebody else posts it later, they have the technology which they run in the background. And if 30 seconds of your video are similar to 30 seconds of anybody else's video, then it will be reported to you as a possible copyright infringement. So it's to stop people downloading your show and repurposing it under their own name. So it escapes me why people want to sort of do that to the 4 of us when they can just simply share it. So, but it is about copyright, about shorter videos, short and long videos. It's about photographs. It's about every single digital asset that you put on Facebook that you can claim the rights to.
Very good.
Yeah. Anyway, we've come up to the hour.
Wow.
So there you go. Well, that was good, Peter, and John as well.
Did you see each other, Stephen?
No.
No, not today. No. He didn't even explain either. He just didn't. He hasn't been here today.
He did say where he was in the thread. Because after I posted about the dog, he said, "Sorry to hear that. I'm at a networking meeting on Thursday."
Oh, right. Okay, I missed that.
I may pop in, I may not, or similar words anyway.
Right. Okay. Fine. Right. Over to you, John. As is our wont.
Right, okie doke. Well, it's goodbye from us. We hope you've enjoyed today. Do something good at the weekend, like have a rest, enjoy yourself. Any recommendations from you, Peter, for the weekend?
If you want to get back into cycling, what I would suggest is, if you're older and maybe a wee bit overweight and think you can't manage, go and look at the biggest revolution there's going to be in cycling, and that is electric bicycles. Go and look at an electric bicycle like I am today. I'm going to look at a new electrical bicycle for work purposes to get to meetings and get back home quicker than my normal cycle. So a good business tool. Get a long distance one. End of message.
So you can have all your poisons in your panniers, are you?
No, I don't do that work anymore. The guys do the work, and I do all the other things.
You're the manager.
Yes.
Stephen, your thoughts for the weekend?
I want to give a shout out first of all to Wigan TV, Fans TV, who are on Live Video Hub every week, and it's where Wigan fans get together and either celebrate or commiserate with each other about the week's rugby match, looking backwards and looking forward to the next fixture. And you can catch it on Live Video Hub, which has now got 151 shows broadcasting on there, and there are already 15 shows which will be live today. This has been one of them. This has been Blabbing for Britain. I'm just saying, if it does sunshine this weekend, and it should, just get out and about in the fresh air, enjoy yourselves, leave the computer behind, and go for a walk, or bike, or just get out there. Just do it.
We are ordered by Stephen to work this weekend on our feet. Right, so that's goodbye from me. It's goodbye from him. It's goodbye from him. It's goodbye from them down there. And goodbye from Stephen PH, who couldn't make it today because he's working. So bye-bye from all.